Good morning. This morning, I'd like to share with you a beautiful meditation written by U.S. Anderson in his book, 3 Magic Words. So I invite you just to prepare yourself, to be comfortable, to relax into your chair or into your bed or the floor, wherever you are. Just allow your body to be and allow your mind to focus on these beautiful words. So relaxing now, breathing, listening gently, without any kind of struggle to understand or analyze the words. Just allow them to flow over you and through you. I know and recognize my oneness with all things. I know that all form and all circumstance are the creation of an infinite intelligence that is in and around me. I know that all things are the result of conception and desire, that my world is ordered according to my own thoughts and convictions. Therefore, I concentrate on harmony. I see nothing but order and constructiveness all about me. I do not accept thoughts of destructiveness and disharmony. In my friends, my loved ones, my fellow workers, I see nothing but cooperation and assistance. I know that we all seek the same answers and the same goals. I know that each person must follow a different path toward his vision, and I understand the searchings and the copings of everyone I know and see. I have sympathy and tolerance for all things and all people. I know that inasmuch as I help others, I help myself. In my brother's eye, there is my own soul. In my friend's smile, there is my own humor. In my neighbor's sorrow, there is my own loss. I have compassion and understanding for all things. For this life in which I have my being strives for understanding of itself. I deny error. It is simply progress toward truth. I know that it is impossible to fail when faith is present. I do not order things to be made in my time or in my place. but trust the universal mind in its own great knowledge of the time and the place and the need and the way. Each moment of each day brings my life closer to realization. The objects of my work are being accomplished this very minute. Success and harmony, peace and confidence are mine. And so if there's something you dream of achieving, some goal you have in your mind, listen again to these words. I do not order things to be made in my time or in my place, but trust the universal mind in its own great knowledge of the time and the place and the need and the way. Each moment of each day brings my life closer to realization. The objects of my work are being accomplished this very minute. Now let us go back to the phrase, I know and recognize my oneness with all things. All form and all circumstances are the creation of an infinite intelligence that is in and around me. And therefore, with all things, I know and recognize my oneness with all things. With birds, with animals, with trees. Oneness with all things. Flowers, clouds, rivers and lakes, all people. I know and recognize my oneness with all people. So let us bring into our minds now all people who are oppressed, all people who are hungry, all people who are grieving. Feel our oneness with them, which gives us the ability to share with them our compassion, our love. And bring into mind now all people who are joyous in relationship, who are successful in their life pursuits, who are experiencing abundance and health. And recall that we are connected with them as well. And we share their joy, opening ourselves and allowing their joy to flow into us, to empower us, to awaken us, and enliven us, so that we may experience joy and pass it on. Because all people are connected. All positive thoughts and emotions that we share into common mind are available to all people. I have compassion and understanding for all things. For this life in which I have my being strives for understanding of itself. And so it is. I invite you now to slowly and gently bring your awareness back to time and place. Feel your breath entering your body. Feel your body's weight in the chair. Feel your neck and your shoulders and your ears. Perhaps wiggle your fingers. And when you are ready, open your eyes and bring yourself into a preparedness for music with Michael Trisling, followed by our service at 10:30. Thank you again for being with me. Namaste. Good morning. I thought with Thomas's talk title this morning, Who Are We? We could start by saying just exactly what we are. Welcome. I nettle and I kunas ilumnana. Good morning. It's really good to see you. We are grateful to live and play and work and do all the things we do here on the traditional and unceded territory of Nanaimo, the Snuneymuxw people. But all across the island, many First Nations have tended and cared for this land for many decades, many centuries, even millennia before we came, and we're grateful. Haichika. And you are welcome here no matter where you are in this land. Welcome to Unity, a positive path to spiritual growth and spiritual living, where you are invited to be exactly who you are, the perfect and unique expression, face of God that you are. So welcome here. If you haven't been told today, you are being told now. You are loved and appreciated just exactly as you are. And would you repeat with me the vision of Unity Worldwide Ministries, which is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And some music from Ken, please.
God's love is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's love is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's life is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's life is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's light is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul. God's light is deep within me, ever satisfying my soul.
We can go home now. Thank you both. That was a great start for the day. So just turning within now, would you join me? And as we go into prayer this morning, let us draw into our hearts all the people in those parts of the world that are troubled this morning, particularly Russia and Ukraine. And let us remember what we know right now in this moment is that there is one presence and one power, active in every life, every manifestation of life. It is the one life. And the one power and presence is there uniting us all. And we know right there in the midst of the trouble, no matter how it looks to us, Spirit is there. Spirit is available, offering hope, offering love, offering infinite wisdom. So we open our hearts to those people, knowing that they open their hearts and their minds to each other, to the wisdom, to the love, to the one life that unites us all. And we invite in peace. On behalf of everyone in the troubled portion of our world, we invite peace. And we declare peace. And we know that the declaration of our words is a powerful, powerful statement and a powerful energy that is picked up by the universe and the infinite law of mind action, and is made so. So we release these words, knowing that the universe is already at work upon them. And in time, infinite space and time, it is already done. And so it is. Again, I found something that spoke to me, given Thomas's talk title. This is a little story by Alan Cohen called "They're Singing Your Song." When a woman in a certain African tribe knows that she is pregnant, she goes out into the wilderness with a few friends, and together they pray and meditate until they hear the song of the child. They recognize that every soul has its own vibration that expresses its unique flavor and purpose. When the women attune to the song, they sing it out loud. Then they return to the tribe and teach it to everyone else. When the child is born, the community gathers and sings the child's song to him or her. Later, when the child enters education, the village gathers and chants the child's song. When the child passes through the initiation to adulthood, the people come together again and sing. At the time of marriage, the person hears his or her song. Finally, when the soul is about to pass from this world, the family and friends gather at the person's bed just as they did at their birth, and they sing the person to the next life. In the African tribe, there is one other occasion upon which the villagers sing to the child. If at any time during his or her life the person commits a crime or aberrant social act, the individual is called to the center of the village, and the people in the community form a circle around them. Then they sing their song to them. The tribe recognizes that the correction for antisocial behavior is not punishment, it is love and the remembrance of identity. When you recognize your own song, you have no desire or need to do anything that would hurt another. A friend is someone who knows your song and sings it to you when you have forgotten it. Those who love you are not fooled by the mistakes you have made or dark images you hold of yourself. They remember your beauty when you feel ugly, your wholeness when you are broken, your innocence when you feel guilty, and your purpose when you are confused. You may not have grown up in an African tribe that sings your song to you at crucial life transitions, but life is always reminding you when you are in tune with yourself and when you are not. In the end, we shall all recognize our song and sing it well. You may feel a little wobbly at the moment, but so have all the great singers. Just keep singing, and you'll find your way home. Ken, if you would keep singing.
I am alive. love every day. I am alive in this world, in this world. I am alive in this world, in this world. This is a place, this is a time. Let it shine, let it shine.
Just like this graphic, it's like a.
My favorite show as a child. I was kind of hoping there was a little more build-up here before I had to get up and speak today. And to be honest, I was sitting at the drums earlier and I saw that slide come up, "Who are we?" with Thomas DeSchutter, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what the worst person that could possibly answer this question, and I've got my name under it. Who are we with Thomas DeSchutter? Like, holy. So this past few months, I've been in my what soon to be the ending term. No, I still have I still have 5 more terms to go before ordainment and graduation, providing, of course, I continue to pass and do all the things that are necessary. But I had the great privilege of being in a class called Unity, the History of Unity, and Unity Principles in general, where we were talking about Unity Principles and the terminology of Unity and the question of practical Christianity. And what's really great, I just want to share this with you, what's really a great piece for me is that I get to be engaged with fellow students and ministers that are leading our classes, and we have these amazing discussions online where we are allowed to voice our opinion, what we think of unity, what we think of the teachings we're having, and what we think of terminology that we use. And there are people from all walks of life that are walking this path with me. There are people that have studied yoga and Buddhism their whole life that have been called into ministry at Unity and are maybe not so much a fan of the idea of practical Christianity. Something that we term at Unity being that somehow we're practical about it, or we put it in practice in a way that is different from, for example, fundamental Christianity, which is much more of the fire and brimstone and God is our Savior and Lord Jesus Christ will save my soul, that kind of language. We don't really practice that at Unity. So for myself, I'll be truthful, I have a challenge with the word Christianity attached to Unity because of the dogma and all of the stuff that comes with that word. So I looked it up. Christianity is merely somebody who practices the teachings of Jesus the Christ. Right, which we do, exactly. We talk about these things, we share these things. We also practice other faiths and traditions and other wisdom practices, but that is certainly one of them. However, when most people hear Christianity, they hear the conversation of Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and if I don't follow and give my soul over to Jesus, I will go to hell. Anybody heard that rendition before? Yeah, right? That's kind of the vibe in a lot of cases. So I struggle with this word, as I found out, sort of many of my fellow students struggle with this word. And so I thought what I'd do today is let's just take a little dive into some of the teachings that we have at Unity. And I want to start with what was Jesus' ministry about? Love. Somebody said love is what Jesus' ministry was about. Peace is another shout out from the group here. Honesty. Compassion. Decentralization of authority.
I'm serious.
Wow. Would anybody say he was a healing ministry as well? He was a healer? Yeah, a healer. So look at all of the different places that we now can find Jesus' teachings. And I didn't offer any of them, although I've had them all written down here. My question, was he a healer? Sure, he was a healer. He went about healing people. Was he a preacher of mind action? Well, let's look at the story of the 5,000, feeding the 5,000. You know, some would have us believe it's a miracle that he took 3 fish and 5 loaves of bread and fed 5,000 people. Well, I just want to turn off my snare drum here. There we go. Bugs me, that little zzz. So let's think about this. In first century Judea, if you were going on a pilgrimage, do you think you would leave your home with no supplies? No. Right? You just wouldn't do that. So we can maybe look at this feeding of the 5,000 a little differently. Perhaps what Jesus did was talk about abundance. Perhaps what he was getting at was the idea of sharing, that we are actually already taken care of, that we can remove the shackles of lack and limitation. And instead of him suddenly producing all of this food, he had his disciples go around with the little that they had and offered to people, if you need something, take what you need, and if you have more than enough, give what you can. And so imagine that perhaps what was going on were that the people that showed up with their supplies all tucked away, I'm going to be taken care of, I got to make sure I've got my food, suddenly began to realize that we're a community. We can actually take care of one another. We could share what we have. And at the end, they had 5 extra baskets of fish and 12 extra baskets of loaves of bread, because people opened up to an idea of prosperity consciousness back in the first century Judaism. So it wasn't really a miracle as much as an ability for somebody to show people a path that was maybe different than what they were thinking about. Was he about forgiveness? Yeah. Yeah, 70 times 7. I think it was Peter said, Master, how many times should I forgive? 7 times? And Jesus said, yeah, 7 times 70. In other words, you forgive until it is cleansed from you. Forgiveness is not about other people. Forgiveness is about releasing it from you so that you aren't suffering, so that you aren't carrying around this burden. It doesn't mean what happened is okay. What it means is you can release it from you and begin to bring in life and let go of life. Was he apocalyptic? I will tear down the temple and in 3 days rebuild it. Some of what he was doing was talking about the end of the world at that time, as they knew it. What he was bringing was a new way of thinking. Was he about love? We asked, somebody threw that out. Yeah, throughout his ministry, Jesus showed his love for others by blessing them, serving the poor and the sick. So was he about love? Absolutely. He gave us this commandment in John 15:12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Was he an activist? Sure. Spirit and compassion versus being holy. So I want to dive in a little to what was going on with the Pharisees and the teachers back then. They were setting up people under laws of purity from, I believe it's Deuteronomy or Leviticus 19.2. Purity become the political and religious play of the day. In first century Jewish Palestine, society had been constructed into a purity system based on holiness code that comes from Leviticus. So if you didn't meet standards of purity, then you were sanctioned, or you were put into different categories. So for example, if you were sick, if you were crippled, you weren't pure. So therefore you were lesser in society. If you were a lawyer, you were maybe just a little bit above them. A tax collector, maybe below them. But the system back then was being set up as these laws of holiness, as purity. And Jesus didn't like that. I took this from Marcus Borg. For those of you, I'm not sure if you know who Marcus Borg is. He was a New Testament scholar and theologian, a widely known and influential voice in liberal Christianity. As a fellow of the Jesus Seminar, Borg was a major figure in historical Jesus scholarship. So Borg says that what was being created was a purity map. This map ranged from pure on one end, streaming downward through different degrees of purity, to impure on the other end. So if you ate with the wrong people, you were lesser. Jesus did that all the time. Jesus ate with the sick. And they were like, who is this guy? What is he doing? He's a rabbi. Why is he with these people? But Jesus was building a ministry of compassion. He wasn't building a ministry of purity laws. He didn't think that was the way to go. There's this great scripture. But woe to you, Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue and herbs of all kinds, and neglect justice and the love of God. Woe to you, for you are like unmarked graves, and people walk over them without realizing it. Now, if you were anywhere near a dead person back then, if you came anywhere near one or touched one, you were like the most unpure, unclean person ever. So to refer to these people as unmarked graves was a real slap at them. So he was an activist. He was about love. He was about equality for people. Which brings me to our unity teachings. Because in a lot of cases, we're talking about equality for all. We're talking about all of these same attributes of love and compassion, healing, affirmative prayer, affirmative action, mind action. These are all things that we talk about. So are we Christian? Well, I don't know. If you go back to 1917 in Christian Healing from Charles Fillmore, in his very first letter, first chapter, first letter, he ends off with what are essentially the very first three principles of unity that we use as our 5 basic principles. That was in 1917. In 1921, he wrote a statement of faith, which was 32 statements of faith, which came out in Unity magazine. And if you ever read those, it's pretty Christian. It's built on the fundamentals of what Jesus was talking about, not as our Savior, but as a way shower, as a person that was leading a charge of looking at our spiritual godness differently, challenging what was going on in his time by setting a standard of compassion and love and forgiveness. And I think those are attributes that we carry here at Unity. Kyle, if you could share that slide, that would be great. So in 1990, Connie Fillmore Brazzi, the great-granddaughter of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, synthesized the principles by penning what are known today as these 5 basic unity principles. So number 1, and remember, the first 3 were kind of spelled out in 1917 by Charles. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe, and in my life, God the good. And I really like that, active as the universe and in my life. Our essence is of God, therefore we are inherently good. This God essence was fully expressed in Jesus the Christ. Right? And I know you all know, but Christ wasn't his last name. Right? Christ is a way of being. We are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. Again, feeding the 5,000. Can you open yourself up? Can you change your thinking? Can you be inclusive? Through prayer and meditation, we align our heart mind with God. Denials and affirmations are tools we use. Jesus prayed many times, off in prayer, as an example. We too believe in prayer. We affirm the goodness that we know. Jesus would end off every healing with, "As you believe." So by your faith will this be done. And finally, through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. And this is that practical Christianity part where my instructor in this class actually put down number 5 as practical Christianity, which I kind of challenged her on because I'm like, well, that's really not what was written. It's a little different. It says, through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Well, my truth might be slightly different than your truth. Right? Mine's not any better than yours. Yours isn't any better than mine. It's my truth. I'm living my truth here. This is what my truth is to get up here and challenge myself to peel back the layers of who I am and expose them to some degree in this realm. That's my truth. But that might not be your truth. Your truth is going to be different. And I honor that just as you honor my truth. But it's that action step. Through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. Now, again, I ask the question, who are we? We're new thought, I know that. But from what I've just seen or what I've just listed here and what you've shared with me, a lot of the qualities of Jesus are things that we actually cling to as unity. You know, and I don't know whether we go forward from here as a Christian faith or a faith based in Christian teachings, that being of Jesus the Christ. I know that I think he's a really cool guy. You know, the more that I've unpacked what he did and what scriptures say, I'm like, wow, that guy was cool, man. He was ready to go to battle to anybody on any of the ideas. But here's the thing is he knew the Bible. He knew his Hebrew scriptures better than any of his opponents. And that gave him the ability to stand before them and challenge what was going on.
What do you mean he knew the Bible? There was no Bible then.
Well, there was the Hebrew scriptures, the old, as it's referred to, the Old Testament. But the Hebrew scriptures were definitely, yes, he was a Jewish rabbi. He wasn't actually a Christian. Just to be clear. He was Jewish. He was a Jewish rabbi. He was not a Christian. That happened later, once we needed some different political power and stuff like that. That's when all that happened. Won't go into that today. Stop. Yes, the Hebrew scripture, somebody's asking, the Hebrew scripture is the Torah, is Judaism, correct?
Which is what Christianity was based on.
Well, there's a yes and no. Yeah. Somewhat yes and somewhat no. But yeah, all of the people that were hanging out with Jesus were Jews. They were all Jewish, right? That's what was going on at that time. It's only later that it got turned into what it's now today, this battle. So I ask you, where are you at with all of this? You can ask yourself, who are we as unity? Do we need a label? I don't know. I know that some people get turned off as soon as I bring up the name Jesus. I've been told that by some people that have watched our videos. And, and I'm okay with that. That's okay. I want to close with one of the authors I had the great privilege of reading, Imelda Octavia Shanklin, who speaks about many of the qualities of unity, or many of our teachings here at Unity, and some things she shared about forgiveness. And it was based on the idea that if God is principle, which we believe that God is principle, then there is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. There is none of that stuff. God is just principle. Kind of like if you think about the rules of aeronautics. You know, flying has always been there. We just couldn't do it. But we would watch the birds and go, that's really cool. Wonder if we could do that. And then some people figured out what was required, figured out the principles that were needed to take flight. And now we get into airplanes and, you know, we can make things fly. Same with gravity. You know that if you let something go, it is going to drop. There's no changing what gravity does. Gravity is gravity.
It's the law.
It's the law, yes, the law of gravity. Well, for us, God is principle, so there is no good or bad. Yet, us humans, we live in a world of good or bad, of injustice, of being hurt by others. And so when that happens, where does it reside? Does it reside out there, or does it reside in here? Where is the suffering? Has anybody ever been offended by somebody where they don't even know they offended you? They're just like, hey, how's it going? And you're like, stewing inside because over something that happened the last time you saw them. They're like, hey, are you okay? And you're like, I can't believe they don't even realize. They are so clueless. They have no clue what they did. So who's hurting in that moment? Yeah. Is it them or is it me? It's me. So when we can forgive, when we can actually let go of stuff, when we can turn our thoughts into holy moments and live with our truth of love, our truth of compassion, when we can grasp those things and live from there, doesn't life feel better? I know it does for me. So for our meditation, I'll invite you to close your eyes and I'll read the forgiveness prayer from Imelda Octavia Shanklin. I just invite you, I've kept the language the same. She wrote this in 1926. But I invite you to just allow the words to move through you and take from it what works for you and let go of whatever doesn't. And if you want to lay down some silent notes. Silent notes? Wait a second. Thank you, Nico. O God of love and forgiveness, love and forgive in me. All that has offended me, I forgive. Whatever has made me bitter, unhappy, or restless, I forgive. From henceforth I shall remember that thy Spirit animating me and all others is perfect, holy. That thy presence makes this planet heaven. I forgive everything that I have remembered as offense. I forgive everything which, not remembering, may have been offense to me. If there be in the depths of some consciousness that which holds itself as offense, I forgive. I let it go and can no more be offended by it. I forgive that thy love may cleanse my soul, that thy life may flow through my flesh and make me again to be the undisguised image likeness. I forgive the ignorance of the past, and from this moment, I hold thy mind to be my mind, that the light eternal may make bright the paths of my soul. Within and without, in the past, in the present, and in the things to come, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive. And so it is, and so it shall be.
You are the heart, you are the hand, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hand, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hand, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world.
I figured you've heard enough piano music to last you a lifetime between Michael and I, so I decided to invite Joelle. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is Joelle. She's a local aspiring amateur singer and songwriter.
I'm not perspiring at all.
She's a perspiring amateur
Cool as a cucumber, a sea cucumber. Hello, everyone. How are you? That was really good, Thomas. I really like that. And Patricia, where are you? Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. That was also beautiful, everything you said. I really appreciated all those words. Thank you. Why am I here? Okay. Nico phones me last night. Late.
That's a relative term. That's a relative term.
Would you come and do a song with Unity instead of his piano solo? So hope you don't get mad at me that you're not getting Nico's piano solo. It was his request. Many years ago, my music director, longtime pianist, music director J. Douglas Dodd, and I wrote this song. And we basically wrote it based at a time when there were still a lot of wars happening around the globe. And it was troubling. It was very troubling being on the outside and looking out, being on the inside and looking out and going, why is this still going on? I remember my mother, she was in Brittany in 1939 with her newborn baby, my brother. And my father had just left to work in the resistance in France. And he went and he fought and he got captured. And he was in a work camp for 18 months. My mother thought he was dead. She wore black for 18 months. And Mom was working daytime. She was making, she worked in a grenade-making factory, her part of the resistance. And all she could do is look at her young son and go, what's going to happen to him? Move forward many years later, my brother, her son, is 18 years old. And in North Africa, the war breaks out, and they're calling all the French people to go and help. And my brother got called. And in that time, it was, of course, military service. You had to do it. So my mother and father made my brother escape. They sent him to England, thinking they'd probably never see him again. They didn't know, but at least he would be safe there. And all these years later, my brother's 83, just turned 83, and you can think that it's still happening. Mothers are still wondering what's going to happen to their sons. When I say sons, I mean sons and daughters. And this song that Doug and I wrote before you were born, basically it still resonates with me, which is quite disturbing. On Tuesday, it's the International Day of the Woman. And I got as close to yellow and blue as I could today. Smiling eyes, so recognized, watching every move. Closer now, come closer, sons, your mother's here for you. Sleeping peace, a world released, protected in her arms. But the mother fears the distant winds of war. A mother sings of a different kind of war. Well, you see, my sons, a woman is a fighter, but she cradles her sword to bear a son. Love is her shield, life she has given. A woman's work is never done. Her sons go to war, one's killed and one's crazy. A mother dreams, awakened, forsaken, she cries. And every woman's a warrior of peace for her children. A woman's work is the work of our lives. Every woman's a warrior, and war takes a son. A woman's work is never done. Every woman's a warrior, and war takes a son. A woman's work is never done. Hollow eyes can't recognize returning to his home. Closer now, come closer, child. You seem like one I know. Suddenly she cries out loud, my God, my son, it's you. And a mother sees the distant scars of war, and a mother heals the deepest scars of war. You see, my son, a woman is a fighter, but she curses the sword to bear a son. Love is her shield, life she has given. A woman's work is never done. Her children she knows, they Woman's work is the work of our lives. Every woman's a warrior, and war takes a son. Woman's work is never done. Every woman's a warrior, and war takes a son. Woman's work is never done.
Ladies and gentlemen, aspiring amateur chanteuse, Joelle Repou.
I don't know how I'm going to do this. Thank you, Joelle. And thank you, Thomas. You know, that was so timely. Yesterday we had an online conference with representatives from, I think, 8 or 9 Unity centers across Canada. And it was an investigation into sort of what's unfolding, what needs to unfold. And I noticed in the chat there were quite a few comments about how we need to move away from Christian language and so on. And you know, that's always kind of been my feeling, my stand, because I grew up without church, you know. But I felt compelled to speak to those people that are trying, if they're without a minister and the board's running this center, and how do we go? And a lot of them are trying to kind of go into, you know, just all new agey stuff. And yeah, go there, investigate that, but don't lose the foundation, because we need them both. There's been this split in Unity since forever, people who felt this way and that way. Why should we cut half of them off? You know, we need to transcend that and include it all. So it's all right if you want to be Christian. It's all right if you don't want to be Christian. We're all welcome here. So thank you for saying that so well. Yeah. So please join us. If you are a member, please join us at noon today. We'll take a very short meeting to vote on, to give the board permission to restructure our financing, essentially is what it is. So the Zoom is in your newsletter. Please join us then. And before that, if you're not a member, or if you want to spend a few minutes anyway, Mavis will be online for the sharing our insights talk this morning. So please go there and then leave and come to the meeting if that applies to you. And Prayers on a Thread workshop is next Saturday with Reverend Vicky. Send Reverend Vicky an email if you would like to register for that. It sounds like a lot of fun, almost worth driving to Victoria for. Think about it. What's so good about the good book? Another offering from Vicky, which again is very timeless to this morning's discussion. It's about how you can not throw out the Bible, but still take inspiration from it. That's what Charles Fillmore did, is interpreted the Bible so that it gives us power and strength rather than makes us wrong. So that's a very interesting discussion. If you'd like to do that, 5 Tuesday nights, you can register through the link online as well. Or send no, I'm sorry, there isn't a link online. You need to email Reverend Vicky for that as well. And as usual, the Comox Valley Prayer Team meets the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays, which is this coming Tuesday, if you'd like to drive up to Comox for a prayer circle. And Monday Magic at the Met tomorrow is a prayer circle in Victoria as well at 2:30 at the Metropolitan United Church. Everyone is welcome to that. And our ongoing events. Choir is back this week, isn't it, Nico? Yes. Yay. Course in Miracles goes on with Leanne every Thursday. Wednesdays is the discussion on Zoom with Mavis. And on Friday nights is our board games. Everybody should come to that. Yes. All right. And thank you so much for your financial support. It is what allows us to do all this stuff and keep things going and be in such a good, strong position. So we thank you. If you can financially contribute to Unity, we are more than happy to accept your blessing. And our abundance affirmation. I'm a little shook up, Joelle. Yeah. All right, let's read that together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I believe it's music time again.
Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is my source, God is all. God is my source, God is all. God is my source, all is God. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. God is my source, God is all. God is my source, God is all. God is my source, all is God.
Can I come back on? This morning, our children, I think, have been outside decorating the labyrinth. Yeah, you know, we have. You can go outside. The kids, we have painted rocks and things in the garden. Well, I've been refreshing those because the winter was hard on them, and the kids have 4 bags of them that I think they went out and replaced in the labyrinth this morning, as well as some new little birdies. So, if you have time, Gilles, would you just ask the kids to come in? If you have time after coffee or before coffee, go out and take a walk in the labyrinth and see what they've done.
Kid music?
Yes, and you get to do all that and still get to the meeting at 12. Yes, if you remember. Okay, here they come. Come on up. Did you decorate the labyrinth for us this morning? Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And you've put a hole in your shoe by working so hard. We really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. So let's tell all the kids just what we think about them. We see the divine light shining as you. We love and appreciate you exactly the way you are. And of course, our love goes to the children of Ukraine as well today. Thank you to Gilles, Norm, and Rick, who have put a new ceiling up in our kitchen over at the other building. Will they never stop? All right. Yeah, that's right. Our prayer for protection. The light that is God surrounds me. I am one with the light. The love that is God enfolds me. I am one with the love. The power that is God protects me. I am one with the power. The presence that is God watches over me. I am one with the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And so it is.